Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a Game 2 in a best of 3 series between Idra versus Mondragon here on Shakuras Plateau. Game 1 on Tall Dream Altar going to Idra, so we'll see what Mondragon does in order to try to counter Idra in this particular map, as it is Shakuras Plateau. This is the TSL version of it, and apparently the TSL version of it on this time around does not have the rocks. Okay, so that does confuse me. Perhaps they did not know it was the TSL version of the map, or I'm pretty much sure that this particular time it is not that the destructible rocks over here were removed. So this is more similar to the Blizzard version of the map. The backdoor rocks have been taken out. They're all instead two sets of destructible rocks here, and then the Xel'Naga watchtowers have been moved a little bit closer together. Now, once again, this is a mirror match, so I will be putting up this production tab for both of you guys to see already. And you can see Idra are already over here, and I believe Idra has a little bit of a lead right now. Or who has the lead? Their particular build orders were changed ever so slightly, but Mondragon actually has a little bit of lead, and now going for Extractor first once again. So Mondragon now taking the early lead. And meanwhile, Idra may be trying to go for a hatchery first this time in order to get an economic lead, or is he just going to go for spawning pool as well? No, he is going, in fact, for a hatchery first down here in order to be able to get a very strong economic advantage. And I'm curious as to why Idra actually decided to do this time around. The reason why I'm curious is Tall Dream Altar is a rather large map where you pretty much have a very long walking distance between both bases. This time, though, you can see Idra instead going for an economic game, and now that spawning pool will be significantly delayed. Idra does know that it is in fact a cross spawn, but Mondragon with that earlier extractor should be able to get the metabolic boosted lings out much more quickly, and perhaps zero in on this distance and try to punish Idra for that very, very early hatchery. Also, Idra is going to be playing a little bit more defensively, as his Zerglings are not going to be moving faster, and he will have to try to utilize queens and spine crawlers in order to fend off the speed advantage of Mondragon's Zerglings. You can see Mondragon no longer harvesting gas, so that metabolic boost already now being researched there, as a drone also going to be growing up to be a hatchery here in just a moment. There's a supply depot. Wow, okay, so one of the supply depots placed down here, making sure that no one is able to wall off into that location, as a hatchery now being placed down there. So we are currently seeing a queen now being trained at the natural expansion. No queen yet at the main base, as Idra doesn't really need a queen just quite yet, as he is not going to be able to utilize the additional larva, and perhaps just wants to be able to fend off the attack. The Zerglings now going to make their way up that ramp. It's going to be a 2-on-2 battle here, as the Zerglings now deciding to back off and now waiting for additional reinforcements to come in. It's going to be 4 Zerglings in just a moment. A queen now coming down here, and now, even though Mondragon does have a slight earlier advantage, you can see that Idra already quickly going into roaches. So this is going to be very helpful, as Idra is not going to be training that many Zerglings, only had 2 to 4 Zerglings, and now going to be able to utilize roaches to fend off this attack. And this is very helpful for Idra, as for every 2 Zerglings that Mondragon's able to train up, a roach is able to be trained if you're looking purely at larva count. So Idra definitely getting a food advantage there, as the roaches have 1 base armor and also deal a significant amount of damage as well. The Zerglings are also nearby to swarm in and perhaps help those roaches be able to 2-shot any of those Zerglings. But normally a roach does in fact need to get in 3 full shots to take down a Zergling, but if a Zergling is able to get in 1 poke or 1 slash, it does essentially become a two-hit slash in order to kill that unit. Mondragon definitely in trouble now, as he is now going into Banelings. So instead of going for the Zergling Baneling battle, he that Idra went last time, Idra is now going for that Zergling Roach battle. You can also take a look at the harvester count: 24 against 21, and 4 roaches there to snipe it down already. And now Mondragon needs to figure out what he wants to do. Those early roaches are going to be essentially immune to the effects of those banelings here. The banelings perhaps wanted to try to do a run by straight into the mineral line here, but that is not going to work at all, as you are now going to see the army size 900 resources versus Mondragon's 825. 55 total food count versus 43. That makes a lot of sense since Idra is currently training up more and more higher food units. Meanwhile, back over here, it looks like more banelings are still being morphed and hatched, and now Zerglings are making their way out. Those Zerglings are going to be coming down over here as a sea of Zerglings now coming over here, and now perhaps going to try to flank, get some damage onto those Zerglings. Zerglings now she's going to be able to come inside very easily, and now taking down some of those drones. Queen also coming in, getting some slash as well, as those Zerglings now running straight inside that base and able to get in some slash there. The drones and now trying to fight back against those Zerglings, and a lot of damage is being dealt. But back over here, the Roach is doing a great job fending off against any of those banelings, and those banelings essentially didn't deal any damage at all. The Roach is now in a very nice defensive position, and with Mondragon unable to see up onto that high ground, Idra able to get off a lot of very easy, very early kills. 450 resources lost compared to 275 at this point. And there are Zerglings and Banelings just activating this Onaga Watchtower here. Mondragon, I guess, playing a little bit confused at this time, and I don't think he really knows what he can do. Idra has the army advantage, he has the economic advantage, and normally when you control two out of the army advantage and the economic advantage at the same time, it's very difficult for your opponent to try to deal or try to slow you down. Just because if he waits too long, then he's going to have to deal with a larger army, and if he tries to attack, his superior numbers and superior forces will easily be able to stop any attack attempt that you try to throw down. You can see more units are still being trained. Evolution Chamber now coming online in 2 locations, so we may be seeing the armor upgrade and the weapons upgrades on those Roaches. Roaches with that weapons and armor upgrades able to 2-shot a Zergling before any damage is dealt at all. And now the Overlords of Mondragon essentially taking a look at this very large Roach army, 18 Roaches now just sitting outside. Zerglings are not going to be able to swarm in at all. You can take a look at the center, and those Roaches, however, are revealed as the Zergling now trying to run around and trying to get into the base. The double evolution chamber there acting also as a little bit of a wall for any units that try to walk up that ramp. And there you go. We do see the Carapace upgrades and the missile upgrades. As soon as these Roaches get that weapons and armor upgrades, I believe Idra is just waiting for the perfect time to come at with a perfect storm of Zerg units and making it necessarily or essentially impossible for Mondragon to try to fight off this attack. There are Banelings now still hiding out production-wise. 8 Roaches still being trained. And yeah, I believe Idra going to be able to easily walk over Mondragon in just a couple of seconds. Now we are getting into what almost 30 Roaches now. More Roaches are being trained. The Glio reconstitution just waiting as Idra waiting for this timing attack to be absolutely perfect. 127 versus 80. So Idra being very, very careful with this particular build order. He does have a... we also see that Mondragon is hiding a drone over here as the Zerglings quickly getting shut down by the Roaches of Mondragon as well. An Overlord, an Overseer now quickly coming in, doing a contamination onto that layer. The layer now, that spawn larva ability will not be able to have any true effect for quite some time, as the Overlords of Idra now setting up a very strong creep highway. Those Roaches now making their way out across the map, and those Roaches going to be able to zero in on that distance very, very easily. You can see 1,700 resources versus 4,000 resources. And Idra, it can almost essentially just attack move with this army in order to get the win. These Roaches so strong, already upgraded 1-1. Infestor now coming online as well, but the Infestors are not going to be able to do very much at all. That's just a very large army of Roaches, and the Infestor is not going to be able to come out in time. There you go. There's the Roaches. Idra now just battling it out. Baneling's now trying to come in, trying to splash. In comes the Infestor, but the Infestor is not going to be able to do much at all. You can see the burrowed Infestor coming in, but just a simple attack move of Idra's Roaches just completely walking over Mondragon, and there's the GG. So Mondragon losing to Idra 2-0 in this best of 3 matchup. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Cloud currently having a 0-1 record. No, not Cloud. MYM currently having a 0-1 record. Meanwhile, EG taking a quick 1-0 lead in this Clan War series. There are going to be 4 additional games between these 2 clans, especially some 2v2 matchups, which I am looking forward to. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 3 matchup between Mondragon and Idra.